Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Monday, Chief Forecaster for Rowan County Weather. As you noticed over the last few weeks, we've been talking to coaches around the county, whether it be football coaches, soccer coaches. We're talking to volleyball coaches, anyone that wants to talk. And today we're delighted to be joined by Nermin Hodžić, who is the East Rowan men's soccer coach, but it's also football, depending on where you're watching around the world. Coach, thank you for taking the time to be with us on a game day like today. I certainly appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thank you. Glad to be on.
Before we really get into the meat and potatoes of it, though, your season just now got started. East Rowan off to a nice 2-0 start. How are you feeling about the team so far?
So far so good. 2-0. If we look at it historically, East Rowan soccer hasn't been very successful in the past. So this is my second stint with East Rowan soccer. I was the boys head coach during the pandemic year. I think it was 2021. It was a very shortened season.
Right.
So this is my second stint. Like I mentioned, historically, we haven't been really successful. So 2-0 is a big deal for us. When I took over this job, one of the things that I wanted to do was not worry so much about the wins and losses. We're trying to just implement a culture here where the kids are competing and we have accountability starting from the coaches down to the players. And so far this year, the kids have bought in. They're practicing harder. They're more prepared, and it's translating out into the field and to the results.
Yes, absolutely. And certainly seeing that, your team has not conceded a goal to this point in the season. So kudos to your goalkeeper. You've scored 13 goals total, conceded 0. Your first win was against North Rowan, I believe, 4-0. And then North Stanley in your second win, 9-0. You go on the road against Central Davidson tonight. For those watching that aren't really familiar with the high school soccer scene, what are your thoughts heading in against Central Davidson?
Oh, we're excited. We have a golden opportunity in front of us to start 3-0. That might be history for East Rowan soccer. I don't remember the last time they started 3-0. Heck, I don't remember the last time they did 2-0, to be honest with you. So 3-0 is a great measuring stick for us. North Rowan was a great game. Our guys were motivated because the previous year they had lost that game 5-3, and it was suspended at halftime due to some altercations between the two teams. The score was like 7-3. If I'm being honest, if they would have continued that game, it was about 7-something. So the North game, I was proud of the guys. They came back. They were motivated, and they won that game 4-0. They went toe to toe, and they overturned a 7-3 scoreline to a 4-0 in their favor. So I was proud of those guys. They deserved it. They worked hard all summer. We started workouts in July. They've been on it. August, they've been on it. It's definitely different training method, different philosophy than they had in previous years. So I was proud of them. They bought in. North Stanley, we were able to get some of our freshmen in. Some freshmen were able to get some goals. Our seniors who haven't scored a lot in the last 3 years. Like I said, historically, we haven't been great. And scoring 13 goals in 2 games is a big deal for us. So we've had kids that played here this is their 4th year. They're getting their first goals in their career. I know Alex Luna's got 1, Corbin Martin's got 2, Carter Honeycutt's just doing what Carter Honeycutt does. He's assisting the ball, he's scoring goals. So really proud of our guys. They came out against North Stanley. That was a business game for us. We took care of business because we, as a school and as a soccer team, cannot be complacent. All right, we're East Rowan, so we can't go in there like, hey, they're North Stanley. No, we don't. We're not there. That's not our mindset. So we're proud of our guys for going in there, taking care of business. They're very excited for tonight. All right, they're playing Central Davidson. Well, I checked earlier today, it was 0-2, but it's a very deceiving 0-2 because the level of competition they have played. So it's a litmus test for us. All right, so everything that we've done up to this point is going to be put on the burner tonight. All right, we'll see how our guys respond. It's a golden opportunity, like I said. They can go 3-0 before conference play, ultimately our goal is like, no, like we don't want to be pushovers. Like you see us on the schedule, like you're going to have to play. You can't just show up and expect to win. You're going to have to play. And that's what we preach to our guys. All right. So we're excited. We're ready to go. Like our kids, like being 2-0 is a big deal to them. So they're excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to reiterate, like you said, Central Davidson 0-2 is very deceiving for those that don't really follow soccer. I mean, you can be a team that loses every single game you play, but still be in it. I mean, because that's how competitive soccer is in a lot of cases. And I know, here over the past few months, soccer, obviously, I mean, there's been some growth with soccer in America, but it's really been spiking over the past few months. And, we can attribute a lot of that, I think, to Lionel Messi coming over, certainly drawing some attention. And I've seen a lot of kids that are really attracted to soccer by that, and some parents that are getting involved more with it. Are you seeing that at East Rowan as well? I mean, have you seen growth in your fan base there? And if so, what are you attributing that to?
Oh yes, no doubt. Our last game, our home game, North Stanley, we've had a pretty good turnout of parents coming out to watch the kids, and this is really great to see the community coming out and supporting our kids. As in terms of soccer and its exposure in the United States, it's come a long way. I remember when I moved here to the States, because I'm originally from Bosnia, in the early 2000s, and going through middle school and high school here in Rowan County, it was almost impossible to catch a Premier League game on TV. All right. Nevertheless, the MLS, like Premier League, La Liga, all those European leagues, you could hardly ever watch a game. You'd have to just kind of do some research on the internet, see what happened. But with social media coming up, gave our kids here in the States more exposure to these different soccer players, different streaming devices. Now you're able to watch multiple leagues. So the kids are definitely catching on. You'll see more kids wearing Messi jerseys, Ronaldo jerseys, USA team jerseys, Christian Pulisic jerseys. So you definitely do see it. It's come a very long way. I went to a few Charlotte FC games. I went to the first one against LA Galaxy. I mean, 70-something thousand people in a stadium. It like 10, 15 years ago, I don't think I would have believed you if you would have said it, but it's come a long way. And you see our kids in practice, they'll mimic some of the stuff that they see the other guys do, like on highlights on social media and stuff like that. But it's come a long way. It's come a very long way.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny. My wife kind of gets irritated with me because I told her there's some non-negotiable things that we have to have on television. And one is Peacock, so we can watch the Premier League games.
Yeah.
And number two is Paramount Plus, so we can watch the La Liga and everybody else, Concacaf.
The Champions League games are on Paramount Plus. I mean,
right.
15 years ago, you'd have to scour the TV and the internet to find a Premier League game. It wasn't as accessible as it is nowadays.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, with your team, like I said, you're off to a great start, 2-0. Potentially could go 3-0 tonight if things go well for you. What do you feel are the strengths of your team so far this season?
Right now, defensively, we're strong. Goalkeeper wise, we're strong. We got 9 seniors. We got a junior and a senior in a center back position. We're young on the wings. We got a freshman and a sophomore that are starting, but they're technically very talented. So defensively, we're really strong. And I don't want to give away too much of what we do, but we're very strong defensively. Midfield wise, we get after it, and our forwards are not afraid to press and get physical with you. We start 2 freshmen. All right, could possibly be more. Got a few seniors out there. Goalkeeper wise, Marcus, he's strong. All right, he's good with his feet, so we're able to play back with the goalkeeper and use him and play out the back a little bit more instead of playing old East Rowan soccer where the kids just booted the ball forwards and hoping to run onto it and get lucky. So looking good. I like our defense, our goalkeeper, midfield. Like, I don't want to single out a single unit because all our kids are working really hard. So I kind of want to give all of them credit.
Absolutely.
So it's a good team right now.
Good. That's great
to
hear.
We're still improving. We're, like I said, we do have 9 seniors, but we also have a ton of sophomores and freshmen. So
yeah, absolutely, and that's great to hear. And I certainly understand. There's it's great to see that you've got a team level atmosphere there. If the team wins because the team everybody did their part. You know, if they lose, then it's, you know, the team lost as a whole, not just individuals. So I certainly respect that type of environment, and I'm sure your players do as well. Um, you know, Rowan County is not, you know, not unlike many other counties in North Carolina. You know, from a diversity aspect, there's, you know, there's some locations that are very diverse. There's other locations that are not as diverse. What kind of diversity are you looking at over there at East Rowan in terms of your players?
If we're looking at it just as a soccer specific
Mhm.
diversity, we don't have the diversity, let's say, that like a West Rowan
Right.
has or Salisbury has. A lot of it has to do with the locality of the school
Sure.
and where it's at in the county and what demographics are in that part of the county. Um, and most of our kids here don't play club soccer. I have a few that do. I think 3 or 4 actually play club soccer, which is really great
Hmm.
here at East Rowan to have that many kids actually playing club soccer. Others, no, they're great athletes that we're trying to mold into good soccer players. But they fall in love with the game and they continue playing it and hoping in hopes of getting better.
Right.
But demographics wise, diversity wise, we're not um, at the level of some of our neighbors here in the county.
Right. Well, you know, you mentioned club soccer, and I'm kind of glad you did, because that's one thing that I've noticed in talking with several of the coaches around the county. There's a big gap here in Rowan County with club soccer because we just don't have a club. I mean, there's not any real club league play here for the kids to do that. They've got to go to, you know, Cabarrus County or to Mecklenburg County or somewhere like that. And it certainly does, I think, in a lot of cases, put Rowan County teams at a disadvantage with some of the surrounding county teams they play because of various players being able to play in a club and then turn around and play at the, you know, at a school with some of the same players they play with on a club and build a lot of continuity. What are your thoughts on that in general?
That's 100% true. Especially in the South Piedmont Conference where we're in and most of the other county schools are in. When we're playing Cabarrus County schools, we're always behind the 8 ball with them because their kids are playing 365 days. All right, they're getting touches. They're on the ball almost every single day, and they're learning and they're getting better. Not saying our kids are not getting better, but there's a gap there as some don't touch a ball for weeks, months, you know, while other kids are just getting better and they're learning from other kids and other coaches. And so the development is there. And you can see that technically and tactically, right? So like here at East, I know I have to work a little bit more on technical stuff, getting our first touchdown or passing or vision. Whereas like these other schools, these kids are already technically talented and gifted, they can work more on the tactical aspect of the game. So they're a little bit further up here than we are. And I can't remember the last time one of our county schools has won the conference. To be honest with you, outside of Salisbury, they're the anomaly, but everyone else, like the South Rowan, the West Rowans, the Carsons, even when it comes to girls soccer, you know, I cannot remember the last time one of us has won the conference. Even when I was in high school at West Rowan, it was a different conference back then, but it was the Iredell County schools. It was Mooresville and Lake Norman combined with the Cabarrus County schools. I mean, within the county would go at each other. We'll have great games, but once we stepped out the county, went to Lake Norman, we got humbled multiple times.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely, coach.
yeah.
Yeah, so you know, really, you know, that is a huge gap that, like I said, I'm seeing that a lot of county teams are having to overcome. You know, you mentioned can't remember the last time, you know, a conference or a county team won the conference, and you know, I know in speaking with Carson's head coach the other day, Coach West, you know, she mentioned that she's hoping that her team can actually make the playoffs for the first time because they haven't done that. You know, with East Rowan, and I apologize for not being familiar with it, but you know, East Rowan, did they have a playoff history, or you know, how's East
I
Rowan
know
doing it?
there was one team that made the playoffs. I want to say 09 or 2010. All right. They squeaked in very end, maybe 8, 9 wins, maybe 10. I'm not sure. But I know there was one because I checked Max Preps and
Hmm.
I know I saw that. Before that, I don't know. If there is, it's very rare. Um, So like playoffs for us would be like winning a Super Bowl
Sure.
or state championships for other schools, you know?
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that in the future I would love to accomplish, you know, and hopefully our kids buy into that. But like our goal in the conference, I mean, with a Concord team that's pretty stacked, like Norman Charter being in there and then being a charter school, um, and their location as well, having a lot of club players, it's going to be hard for us to compete with that, you know. So we take what we got, we work with what we got,
Hmm.
and you know, make sure we give everyone a run for their money.
Absolutely. And that's all you can ask for. It's the fact of getting out there and giving it 100%. So certainly appreciate that. Now your team tonight, again, they're playing Central Davidson. This is their second game of the week. They played their first one this week on Monday. And so, Monday it was obviously a little warmer than it is today. So you get a little bit of a break from the heat, but still that's kind of a challenge. I think a lot of folks get lost in the idea that with watching Major League Soccer, those teams may play one game a week, and in some cases they may play two if there's some kind of Leagues Cup play or something like that going on. But with the high school teams, there's some weeks where the high school clubs play 3 games a week. So when
Yeah.
you get into these situations, how does your team, how's your team handle that? Are they, do they have the stamina to do it, or are you having to rely on a lot of roster changes and things like that? I'm not asking you to give away a lot, but certainly just want to get some insight there. So.
So with this week, with North Stanley being on Monday, one of the things like, and what we tried to do is we tried to end that game a little bit early because we knew we
Right.
had a game. The game was originally scheduled for Thursday, but because of JV football, we had to move it back a day. So knowing we only had a day of rest, it was like, well, we stressed to our guys like, all right, guys, we got to go in here and we got to finish this game as quickly as possible. Once we got to 7-8-0, we started putting in a lot of our subs. But what's one of the things we stress, like, hey guys, like we got to get this game over with because we got a game on Wednesday. We need as much recovery time as possible. But when it comes to like there's this in our schedule, we have 2 conference games back to back, and then there's a week where we have 3. That can't that for us. I don't know how the other county schools are, but we're not that deep. We can't 3 games in the week. It's almost impossible for our kids to give you 100%. Even when they want to give you 100%, something's aching, their leg, foot. There's just not enough recovery time
Right.
in between it. And I really don't think high school soccer should have back to backs. I mean, the game is 80 minutes long. We're not like most teams are not as deep as you believe they are. I mean, after you're 11, you might have 2 or 3 that are like equal to the starting 11, but after that, I mean, it's not the same. So the back to backs, I feel like they definitely need to go away. I'm just not a big fan of them. All right.
Yeah.
Basketball, I can get away with it, but because the court's a little bit shorter in length and width compared to the soccer field here's like ours was 120 yards long, 75 yards wide. So it's a lot of running. It's taxing on the body, and these are teenagers. All right. So they're
Right.
not used to this type of running, especially in back to backs. So it is tough. It is tough to manage. Sometimes if we do 3 games in a week, I have to give them a day off during the week for practice along with the weekend. Or we'll have a practice where it's just like stretching or yoga, something like that. It's like just trying to reset mentally to play
Right.
the next game. Because if you're playing on a Tuesday and you have a hard game, it's tight, it's close, and you lose, it's a heartbreaker. It's hard to get. It's like, oh, now we got Concord next day. Like, oh, let's get up for that one. It's hard. It's not easy. It's hard for coaches. It's hard for players.
Absolutely. And it's one of the things I've stressed in several of the interviews I've done with soccer coaches, around the county. I saw a study, matter of fact, it was about 2 weeks ago, saying that on average, high school soccer players run 7 to 10 miles a game. And that really didn't surprise me. But what did surprise me is when I did start seeing where there's like, several games have been added to the schedule for one. I think he went from 20 to 24, if I remember correctly, looking at some of the stats over the last few years. And then, like I said, there's in some cases 3 games a week. So you're asking, an athlete to run 24 to 30 miles essentially in a game. And that's just if it's an average game. I mean, if there's some a lot of high intensity going on in one game that week, you're probably putting more miles in that running. So, uh, it's a testament to some of these kids, that are able to get through it and figure out a way to push through it. Luckily for you guys, this Friday, obviously Fridays are typically reserved for high school football and all that. And luckily you're not having to deal with that, being that it's probably going to be the hottest day of the year here in the county this coming Friday. So I've noticed some games are being pushed back to later to give the sun time to go down. I did see some soccer games yesterday, for county teams that did get pushed back to give the sun time to go down. Have you had to deal with that yet with any of your games, or have your games been able to start on time?
Oh, we've started every game on time. Tomorrow, like I said, today's game was supposed to be tomorrow, but I
Mhm.
was looking at the temperatures, and we did play Monday, but we didn't really play a full game.
Right.
Sort of say we kind of ended that game in the second half, uh, prematurely. So our kids have had enough time to rest, and with the weather actually being cooler today than tomorrow, I think this time it worked out for us.
Right.
But we've had no weather issues here. So hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll go ahead and pull up, again, just to kind of recap what your team has done and where they're going. So, as we said, 2-0 to start the season, playing Central Davidson tonight at 6 p.m. Um, any last minute words to the fans that may be coming to watch that game, or to your players in general?
So for the fans, and I've told this to our parents when we had our parent meeting, I pretty much told them like our kids are going to play hard every night. All right, and that's the one thing I can't promise wins. I can't losses will be there, I guess, but wins will be there when they're there. But I can tell them the one thing that we're going to control is how hard we play, and we're going to have a right attitude about it because that's the type of culture that I want to have. All right. This is one of the reasons why I took the job. Like I've done it before. And a lot of the kids I have now that are on the team, especially the seniors, I had them when they were itty bitty freshmen. And so I know what they're about and I know they want to be coached hard. They wanted it. And I'm here and I told them, like, guys, this is how it's going to be like. This is how we're going to play. You're going to be coached hard. You're going to be held accountable. And they bought in. And so I know my kids will play hard tonight. And the fans can expect that. I don't know if
Yeah.
we'll win or not, but we'll control what we control. And the
Yeah.
result will come. That's the hope.
Yeah, absolutely. For anybody that is coming to the game, I always like to call this out. This is in accordance with all Rowan Salisbury sporting events. That there is a clear bag policy in place. It's there for safety. In accordance with RSS procedures, only clear bags of any size are allowed inside of sporting events. All bags are still subject to search, even though they can be, seen through in these cases. But things that are prohibited: camera bags, diaper bags, clutches, binocular cases, various bags like that, if you cannot completely see through them. So, and this is only for spectators coming to the game. Players, that doesn't apply to them, and certainly understandably so. But I did want to call that out. And Coach, I know that this is important for anyone coming. I don't know about other county team or other counties, surrounding counties, if they have these clear bag policies going on in their counties. I know some do, some don't. It's kind of hit and miss. But again, for the parents that are coming, just make sure you are up to date on this and you're aware of it before you get there. And then East Rowan soccer, I did want to call out too that there are several ways that fans can follow on social media. I did find on Twitter there's an ER men's underscore soccer that's out there. Um, Also, yours on Twitter as well, Nermin with a capital N, and it's got Hodi HODI with a capital H and the number one. Which you're very active on Twitter with that account, so I've seen that. I follow you and see all your information there, and certainly like what I see there. Especially loved on Monday when you made your tweet, getting the club game ready and anybody that might be coming. So I thought that was really cool. And then you also have Instagram that we talked about earlier. That's all one word, all underscore at East Rowan Men's Soccer. That's also for Instagram. So lots of great content there as well. Coach, did we hit all those and get them right?
You got them.
Perfect. So certainly, for fans that are wanting to follow there, it's certainly a great way to keep up, and really appreciate that. Again, Central Davidson tonight, 6 p.m. for East Rowan, and we'll certainly update some folks with the scores on that. I always pull those either from Max Preps, or if I see any updates on your social media, I try to retweet those and all that to make sure that fans can get it. So.
Yeah, I try to be up to date with that as much as possible. Sometimes after a win, I'm quick to do it. After a loss, I just need to calm it down a little bit, and then I'll post it. Right? Human after all, right?
That's right. I certainly understand that. Well, thank you, Coach, for your time today. I certainly appreciate it. Certainly looking forward to seeing the rest of East Rowan's season. Had a lot of fun talking with you today. Hopefully we can reconnect and do this again as the season goes on. Keep the East Rowan Mustang fans up to date on East Rowan soccer and things that are developing for the team.
No, I appreciate it, man. I enjoyed being on, and hopefully we can continue talking more about East Rowan soccer.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. And folks, thank you for joining. You can catch all this on our YouTube channel, also on Rowan County Weather social media platforms, as well as our website. We'll have all this available for you there.